Hey, what's up guys? So today we're going to be going over everything that you want to know and summarize everything from ExileCon into one condensed video. So let's go ahead and start off with some information on Path of Exile 2. We're going to be also talking about Metamorph as well as Conquerors of the Atlas, which is actually going to be coming out very soon. We're talking December 13th here. But anyways, first off, the information I think a lot of people want to know is when the heck is the beta for Path of Exile 2, the Mega Expansion, aka 4.0. If I do say 4.0 or say Path of Exile 2, they're essentially going to be the same thing. However, this is posted on the official website as far as Path of Exile 2 goes. They don't have a release date for it yet, but it says we're unlikely to start a beta until at the least very late 2020. In the meantime, we're continuing to release Path of Exile expansions on a regular 3-month cycle. So basically, we don't have a confirmed release date, but beta may be around 2020 or early 2021. Now, the next thing I do want to mention as far as the transformation goes, because this was a huge deal. Obviously, Diablo 4 came out and announced the Druid, and they're like, yo, we've got transformations too. Now, as far as the transformations go, there are going to be new 19 class ascendancies, and one of them is related to it, and we actually kind of have a rough skill tree already for this. But anyways, as far as the transformations go, they haven't announced every single one, but there will be multiple transformations. The ones that we know of as of right now are like the werewolf or wolf, and as well as a bear was mentioned. There's no gameplay of the bear, but that was something mentioned. Now, going over the new 19 class ascendancies over here, they did show off some of the ranger ones. But as far as that goes, we're looking at Beastmaster over here, and you can see that there's going to be a lot of different companions. And if you do want to pause at any moment to read everything in depth, feel free to go ahead and do so, because I will be going through some of these a little bit faster than you can read every single one in detail here. But basically, this is going to be the new shapeshifting class, and it's going to be called the Beastmaster on the Ranger Ascendancy over here. Now, in addition to that, they did also showcase off some more interesting ones, like the Tactician here, where it has over in the bottom middle, you'll see in yellow, it says Close Combat Specialist, and it says you may use melee sword and axe skills with your bow, 10% more melee damage with bows. So that's going to be very interesting. I'm really interested in trying to attempt something crazy with this, and I would like to see maybe a Quill Rain Flicker Strike. I just want to see how crazy we can get some of these new ideas for, of course, 4.0. And if you guys are new here and do want to see some crazy stuff, hit subscribe, turn on that bell, and you'll definitely see it when, of course, we get this new Ascendancy here. But in addition to that, we also have Survivalist. There's a lot of really cool new mechanics over here. And again, at any moment, feel free to go ahead and pause and read everything in depth, but I kind of want to go through this video a little bit faster to try not make this like a half-hour long video, because there's so much detail to go ahead and go over. Next up, one thing that I did want to mention that a lot of people were wondering, if Path of Exile 2 is going to be the same game. Is it on the same engine? And as you guys can see, they have a lot of new character models. There's a lot of newer animations and stuff, and the game definitely looks different. And a lot of the people that were playing Path of Exile 2, which you guys are seeing gameplay of in the background, said the game kind of feels different. And the correct term that they were actually using was new engine tech. So I want to say it's more likely just modifying the engine to optimize and make certain things look a little bit better. But the next thing I do want to mention is the MTX. Going into Path of Exile 2, you should be able to utilize all of your MTX. They basically mentioned that it's going to be a nightmare going and changing all the MTX to kind of work with Path of Exile 2. So I'm assuming this means every single MTX should work. But again, there's no 100% confirmation on every single one, but they said that it's going to be a task that they're going to have to handle. The next thing I want to go into, which is pretty big, is this new system as far as the gems, because they're kind of making gems the area where you will actually re-roll those sockets, and they should be all linked. So I'm interested to see what they do with jewelers, because they said that they're just going to remove them or they're going to do something else with them. There's probably some type of conversion rate, so don't worry and get rid of all your jewelers right now, but most of you guys probably will want to play on the new league anyways once that decides to come out. But to sum it up over here, you'll be using jewelers on your gems to actually get more sockets, and then to change the colors, just chromatic them. And here's another screenshot of kind of how it will be looking like. And you're going to be able to have actually more than 8, but technically 8 will be like the default amount of gems that you'll be able to equip. But there are items like Tabula that can increase this by 1. But Really, to sum it up over here, you're going to have multiple items that will be able to have 6 links. So this is really great for builds that have trouble. Some of you guys that follow my stream, you guys know that I primarily play Flicker Strike every single new league. Even in Delve, I tried to attempt to go for it. But the thing is that it's going to be really nice for us to be able to utilize multiple different skills. So I think this is a great change to the game. But next up, I kind of want to talk about more information on the new Metamorph as well as Conquerors of the Atlas stuff. So the stuff that I previously talked about is all going to be 4.0, aka the Mega Expansion, aka Path of Exile 2. But let's go ahead and go over some of the newer stuff that will be coming out in Path of Exile 3.9. So first off, again, Conquerors of the Atlas and Metamorph. This is what we're talking about here. So what the heck is the Metamorph League? And I will link a bunch of stuff down below. So in case you guys do want to go ahead and check it out, it will be there in the description box as well as the pinned comment. But as far as the Metamorph League over here, what it is you're basically killing monsters and they're going to be dropping parts, and you're going to be using these parts to actually craft a new monster by putting them into this tank over here, and then there's just going to be a bunch of different bosses kind of combined into one enemy that's going to shapeshift, and you're going to have to kind of change your playstyle accordingly, which I think is quite interesting. Another thing I did want to mention as a note, as far as PoE Mobile, there's no set release date for PoE Mobile, but another important thing a lot of people did want to know, and this was mentioned in one of the interviews that Quinn had, is that the Path of Exile mobile game won't actually affect the main game. So basically they are going to be separate. So they're not going to dumb down the main game to kind of make the mobile game more accessible, so to speak. So that is quite good for any of you guys that were potentially worried about the PoE mobile game. But again, we don't have a release date on the PoE mobile game, but it seems to use some of the art assets in Path of Exile 4.0, aka Path of Exile 2. So my guess is it's going to be a little bit later. However, you guys know that the turnaround time for mobile games generally is going to be faster, so I would not be surprised if it happens to come out sooner than 2.0 or Path of Exile 2. But anyways, as far as the map goes, it's kind of interesting for the new league over here. You're actually going to be starting out in the center. Everything is going to be like white maps in the very beginning, and then you're going to be able to socket the atlas and kind of change a lot of different things. But we'll go more in depth on that once we, of course, get our hands on that. And if you guys want to see gameplay of course, the newer league, I will definitely be playing. I'll more than likely be playing bow because there's going to be so much new bow support. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and check it out. So here's what we have as far as the newer gems. So we have these new gems. One of them is going to be the Era Nova support. So this is going to shoot up an arrow and then it's going to land on the ground. In fact, you're seeing gameplay of it right now in the background, and you can modify it, and basically it comes down and it splits up. And then in addition to that, there is some support for the Siege Ballista. This is something new you'll see in the background. You're seeing the shrapnel activate over here. But this one, I don't have a specific like skill gem to show you guys, but this is, again, for 3.9 here. We also have barrage support, so this is actually going to be supporting bows and wands. So this is going to make a projectile have barrage, so that's pretty cool for that. And in addition to that, there is a ensnaring arrow. This one they didn't have any gameplay of, but nonetheless, what this is it's going to ensnare an enemy, and it's going to count them as moving at all times, so that can be very cool. Maybe some type of bleed build can be viable for that. And then in addition to that, they have these new gems called plus support gems, and so these ones take a lot longer to level up, but they're going to be essentially just much stronger versions of gems that we already have in the game. And then in addition to that, there are some new items in, of course, new league. So we have these catalysts. So this is going to add quality to very specific items that normally wouldn't have quality. And let me go ahead and actually go into that. So you can see that over on this ring, as well as this leather belt, you can see over at the top, there is a quality section over here. So, and I'll tell you exactly what it's modifying. So that will be pretty cool. There's also new exalted orbs that will be modifying very specific things. So I think that that's pretty cool as well. And then as far as new divination cards that actually mattered, some of them were kind of minor, but the ones that you guys are probably more interested in are going to be Bottled Faith, as well as the helmet, which is going to actually offer Eternal Labyrinth enchantments, which, as some of you guys know that play this game, it's very difficult to get that very specific enchantment. A lot of you guys probably just go online and just purchase whatever one that you want, but it's very expensive. Anyways, going into new uniques, this was one that I found to be very interesting. This is Hand of the High Templar. These are Crusader gloves that have the stats over here, it says it cannot, it can be modified while corrupted, can have up to 5 implicit modifiers while item has this modifier, which is actually pretty important, which means you can essentially Vol Orb this multiple times. But keep in mind, if you go too high, you could basically brick your item and then you get stuck with something that's completely useless. So very high risk reward item. I think that this is kind of something cool, and this could be potentially really good best in slot item for some classes. And next up we have Mana Storm. This is a fossilized spirit shield. Let me actually make this a little bit bigger so you guys can read the text. So this is going to be a shield that has the ability that when you cast a spell, sacrifice all mana to gain added maximum lightning damage equal to 25% of sacrifice mana for 4 seconds. So this could open up the door to pretty unique builds. And then in addition to that, we have another new unique over here called the Leash of Oblation, and it's going to make it so you can have an offering of each offering skill, of each type, and an offering skills have 50% reduced duration on that. And in addition to all of these things, there is also this new amulet over here, and the special ability on this one is modifiers to number of projectiles instead apply to number of targets projectiles split towards. So basically you're going to condense everything into one and have like a new effect on it. So I think that that's pretty cool. And then lastly over here, there are going to be some new endgame types of bosses in the new Conquerors of the Atlas. But anyways, guys, that's a quick little summary. There's so much more to kind of cover, and if you guys are interested in more things, I'll pin both of like the 8-hour VODs down below. But I wanted to make a video kind of going over the important things that a lot of you guys probably wanted to know about Path of Exile 2 over here. But anyways, if you guys felt like I missed on anything, definitely let me know in the comment section below, and I might make an updated video as we get more new information with, of course, 3.9 and, of course, Path of Exile 2. But I'm pretty excited about playing 3.9 with those new bow modifiers. Specifically, just giving barrage to everything will be quite cool. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you did, drop a like on it. And if you are new here and want to see more gaming content, hit subscribe, turn on that bell, and you'll definitely see more. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a good one, and I'm signing out. Peace.